Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be working on this little diesel switcher locomotive I picked up off of eBay. I can't remember the exact price I paid for this thing, but it was easily under $10, so not a whole lot of money. It doesn't run. I think when we tested this thing, it didn't even move whatsoever on the track, so it's clearly going to need some kind of work. You can see the wheels are pretty dirty, which is already not a great sign. But in any case, we'll see what we can do and see if we can get this thing riding the rails once again. I'll quickly just bring it over to the track so I can show all of you exactly what it's doing right now, and then we'll begin. So we'll just quickly diagnose this thing and see if we can figure out what's going on with it. I'm currently putting power in the track, and we are getting current draw. I don't know if you can hear that, but the motor's humming. So this thing actually is trying to go. It just can't for whatever reason. Probably some sort of a drivetrain issue. So yeah, we'll bring it over to the workbench and we'll see if we can fix whatever's preventing this thing from going. Maybe it's a seized motor. Who knows? So we'll just begin by removing these 4 screws on the bottom. I believe that's all that's holding this thing together. Okay, and there we are inside. Oh, you seem to have some sort of a, looks like a spider egg. It's got to be the 3rd time I've seen this. I wonder if it is about spiders building nests and things like this inside HO scale locomotives. It's pretty strange. Anyway, now that we're in here, we can actually have a look at everything. That is a really dirty commutator. Just look at that. I think this is probably a lubrication problem. But yeah, there's only one way to tell. I'll try turning this. You have to be really careful using a tool to turn a commutator though, because if you aren't careful, I could break that wire right there and then that whole coil won't work. So that actually didn't turn too bad, but yeah, I don't know. Why don't we take these brushes out and see if we can investigate a little more. We already have to clean this, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. It seems to be turning all right. Unfortunately, this whole gearbox is kind of seized. If we have a look in here with a light, we might be able to see if there's dried lubricant in there or whatever. So here we are looking inside. It doesn't look spotless in there, but it also doesn't look terrible. I'm not seeing any hair or anything caught around the axles, which is a good sign. So it could just be old lubricant. I'll just try dripping a bit of oil in there. This is, I think, Labelle 102 or something like that. And we'll just let that kind of soak in, and hopefully it will kind of unseize anything in there. This is not an optimal way to work on an engine. I mean, really what you would want to do is open this up and clean everything up, but unfortunately, since they used rivets, the only way to do that would be to drill these out and replace them with screws, and I just don't have any screws at the moment, which I think would fit very well. So for now, I'm just going to do this. You can always open it up later if it doesn't work out, but you know, we're also just working on a really budget engine. And while that oil works its magic, we're going to use our fiberglass pencil here to clean up the commutator, because it's looking pretty dirty. This is one of the worst cases it's on the worst side of the cases I've seen. So we'll just clean that up. I'll put a link to one of these pencils in the description too, if anybody wants to get one, because they are a pretty handy tool. Of course, you could always use Q-tips and things like that to get the oil and carbon off, but they will not remove oxidization off the metal. So that's looking a lot better. Now we're going to use this little pick just to clean the gaps on the commutator. This is important on any electric motor with a commutator. Because first of all, it's going to just make the motor a lot less efficient, but second of all, you can also burn out the commutator if these get too dirty. Always use something that's softer than the metal too, like a wooden toothpick if you can. You know, you could shave one down a little bit to make it fit, or a plastic one like this. Just something that's really not metal, because the problem is if you use a metal one, what can happen is that you can actually scratch the metal on the commutator, which will wear down your brushes really fast, and it will also get these gaps dirty again, so it can really mess up your motor. So you have to be careful working on these things not to do that. I guess you could use a piece of metal, you just have to be extra careful. I'll try to oil the motor too. Let's put a little bit right there. I don't even know if I want to oil it on this side, honestly, just because it's so close to the commutator. I'm almost certain it's going to get on there. I could put a little more oil on that gear, though. Yeah, let's put a little more in these gearboxes, just to help them out. In an attempt to try to be meticulous, I'll just clean these up too with the fiberglass pencil. Yeah, we'll just help a little bit. There we go, and those should be ready to go back inside the motor now. It's kind of one of the better motors I think I've worked on. They make it super easy to remove the brushes and seemingly to put them back in, which is nice because sometimes some of these designs of these kind of Pitman motors are really hard to work on. You can get the brushes out, you just need to fight with them more, so I quite like this motor. Well, may as well get some leads and try to test this now. I do have some confidence that this thing is going to start because the motor looked to be in decent condition. The question is going to be if that gearbox is too bad. Not anything. And I know it's not shorted because I'm not seeing sparks. We got power in our leads, and that gearbox might be the problem, but I can't tell, so I'm gonna just try putting leads directly on the brushes. And oh, actually just saw it turn a bit. I'll just kind of try to prod the motor a bit. This is not something that you should really do. It's trying to go. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to get these things turning again, and once they start revving, they'll be okay. We had it and we lost it. There we go. I just gave everything a little more oil, including the bearings for the wheels, and now when I give it power, after letting it run full throttle for a minute, it fires to life every time, which is exactly what you want to see, so that's a really good sign for this locomotive. Now all we have to do, I think, is just clean up the wheels and contacts and everything else, put it back together, and hope for the best. Let's see if we can kind of wire this thing up a bit. Nice. And now we just get a little track brake. Yeah, let's let this kind of do the work for itself. Probably the most shiny those wheels have ever looked since they left the factory in whatever year this was built. And while we're in here, we may as well clean up those contacts because they could use a bit of work. So now that we've got those all cleaned up and they seem to have adequate tension, we should be good. This one's a little bit tight, but it's not too bad. You want the springs to always have like enough pressure that you know, they'll like provide an adequate electrical connection, but not so tight that they'll wear down quickly or put unnecessary strain on the motor. Now, we just need to get them back around these wheels, and we'll hopefully be in business here. Okay, there we go. And then a little bit awkward, honestly. Yeah, looks like the spider nest is bigger than I thought. Get all that crap out of there. Hopefully I've done all this correctly. Nope. Now, it's possible that I might have put this on the wrong side, and maybe that was the issue. I had thought that maybe there are kind of two black rings here. I thought maybe those were insulators, but now I'm starting to think this whole part here is plastic. So that might explain the short. Let's see if I've done it right this time. Oh. Well, that's an okay sign. It's possible that just because everything's loose, it's not working right, but at least it's not completely shorted. Well, I can't entirely tell. Let's bring it to the track. Well, what do all of you think? Have we got a runner on our hands? Nope. Well. Sort of. It keeps shorting, though. Now it's fully shorted. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I suspect this might be the location of our trouble because this metal was, originally coated with this sort of paint, which I think is supposed to prevent it from shorting against the body of the engine. But I think over time, just from wiggling around, that paint has just worn down and it's causing it to short a bit. So we need to coat the ends in something that will prevent the shorts. So I couldn't think of a better idea, so I just took everything apart and coated it with CA, every surface that I thought might be causing a short. And now if we do this, it doesn't seem to be shorting, so I'm a bit more optimistic about it now. Okay. Well, that's a good sign. No shorts. Hey, I think we got a runner, folks. Doesn't even run half bad. Of course, this thing's got a 5-pull inner, so... Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, not too shabby. Well, I guess it can handle a 6-car consist at red line. The wheels are slipping pretty bad, but it's doing it, and it's running consistently too, which is really what matters. So yeah, I've got to say I'm pretty happy with this little engine. It turned out quite a bit better than I was expecting. It has got a 5-pole, which is always a good thing, but it never guarantees it's going to perform great. But I mean, here it is going around with no issues. And with that, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching.